Hi everyone, hi, my name is Ade and welcome to the vlog again. Today I wanted to talk about something that was important for me as I started my transformation journey, and that was understanding my authority as a believer. It was about understanding the dominion that I had as a believer, and I didn't really get it. So one day I went on, I've seen these different messages, authority of a believer, and I'm like, what does this really mean? And I started to think about it, and I know that in the past I'd heard that, okay, when God created Adam was higher than the angels, but at the time when the fall happened, maybe he lost his dominion and came right to the bottom of the food chain. So I didn't really get it. I just thought, okay, what do they mean when they say the authority of the believer, whatever? So I'll be honest, I didn't really do some research, but as I started to listen to more tapes and more videos, I think the first person I heard talk about it was Charles Capps, and he started to explain how this whole thing worked. And I thought, wow, I've been a Christian for so long and I didn't even know this. And basically, what was the story? So when Adam sinned in the Garden of Eden, now that's actually a true story. It's not a fable. It's not a folklore. It's a clearly true story. It's history. It happened. So when God created Adam and Eve, and Adam was made from the breath of God. He was made from flesh. Yes, he was built from flesh, but he was a living, talking spirit like God. The same substance, God material, was what Adam was made from. And as he went on, he sinned in the Garden of Eden, and he blamed God when he sinned. Remember when he said, and this is not really part of it, but I thought I'd mention it, where he actually said, the woman you gave me has caused me to sin. What he did was he actually blamed God. He wasn't blaming Eve. He said, the woman you gave me. So if you're saying that, it's like me, someone does something wrong to me and says, Ade, but you gave me this thing. And I'm like, or something happens. It's like, but Ade, you gave me this thing. And I'm like, I gave you now. It was a gift, So he was blaming God, like, why did you give me this woman that caused me to sin? And he blamed God and then sinned. But prior to that, what happened? God had given him dominion. And when God blessed Adam in the Garden of Eden at the very beginning, he said to him, I give you dominion over all the works of my hands. This garden I have created, go and tend it, go and look after it, go and make sure it's okay. He gave him dominion, he gave him power over the works of his hands, he gave him authority. He gave him so much authority that God limited his own authority on earth when he gave Adam the authority. Now when you hear that, I'm making some really big statements here, and when you hear that, you're like, Ade, how can you say that? It's like me saying, I build a house right now, I furnish it fully, I make everything perfect, and I now tell you, hello, Mr. A, I am giving you complete authority, so much so that I've given you everything that I have. I'm giving you authority over this thing. I've given you, take it. Which is what God did to Adam. He gave him complete and total authority over all the works of his hands. He said, you go and name the birds of the air, name the animals, do everything, and he gave him dominion. And what did Adam do? At the point where Adam sinned and opened himself up to good and evil, which was really funny because from the very beginning, Adam was not even supposed to know that there was any evil in the world. There was nothing there that, was supposed to indicate that there was evil in the world. All God wanted Adam to know was that there was good. And it was very funny because the tempter came to him, the devil came to him and said, look, if you do this, you will be more like God. You will be like God. But guess what? Adam was already like God. The Bible clearly depicts that we were created in the image of God. We were made in that same image of God. So Adam was already like God. So he had no reason to sin, no reason to take that. But I guess that's why there was a deceiver. So anyway, all that happened. Now, throughout the Bible, you can see where, so at that point, I guess, when people say that, Adam was at the top of the food chain and then suddenly moved to the bottom of it, man moved to the bottom of it, a curse was released. And the curse basically said, you will toil, from this. And then we hear conversation between God and man at man's fall. And Adam fell from earth. Remember, he didn't fall from heaven. He fell from earth. He was already on earth and he fell from earth. And that was when he started to toil and he stopped to exist as a supernatural being. But then all that got turned around when Jesus Christ came and died and got the authority back. So, the Bible talks about him going to hell and making an open shame of the devil and his demons and holding captivity captive. And then the Bible says he gave gifts to men. So he went there, he died on Calvary. He paid the ultimate price because, what Adam did, what the devil did was tempt Adam and in one way tried to get the authority from God. So he had rebelled against God and had been banned, an everlasting damnation or whatever. He had been banned from heaven. So he fell from heaven. And then at the point realizing that God had created Adam this way, giving man all of this dominion and all of this power. There are even some teachings that talk about, maybe, and I don't want to start to confuse people, but I'm sure in your own way, the Holy Spirit will reveal it to you himself in the way he knows how to do it for you to understand clearer. But, there was a teaching I actually heard, and I think it was Kofodola that preached that message about how man was one that created the devil. So literally, Adam, could it be that it was while they were in the Garden of Eden that the devil was there and able to do something, in his bid to overthrow God, or in his bid to get God's power, which is quite stupid actually. How can you take on the person that created you, really? To try to overthrow God. Was it the fact that man actually fell was what caused him to become the devil? Something like that, or that you think about it in a way that, there are other teachings that talk about how that was what caused the earth to become void in the first instance, and darkness to be all over the earth, that the earth God created. So it depends on where you want to look, what angle you want to look at it from. But essentially, at the point when man sinned, that was when the authority and the dominion was transferred over to the devil. And it was really quite a bad occurrence. It wasn't even a funny occurrence at all, because what happened as a result of that was God now found himself locked out of his own creations, because don't forget that he transferred this power over to man. He transferred it over to man. So it's as if I give you the power, then you now go and do something really negative with it. You now go and give it away to someone else, so much so that I cannot now get to it again. Do you understand what I'm saying? So God had given Adam all this power. He was now on earth, whatever. And then he gave it away to the devil, so much so that God was now locked out. So God had to find a legal way to come in. So all through the Old Testament, we see the prophets speaking about it. We see spiritual law being enacted. You see glimpses of it being put in. You see it all over the Old Testament. And then as you get into the New Testament, the birth of Jesus comes to pass. But then, what was interesting was God needed to make a covenant with a man. And unlike Satan, he didn't come to deceive a man. He didn't come to give him an issue. He went to Abraham and made a covenant with Abraham. So much so that his authority started to grow back. Because, the reason is, and a lot of people are like, but how can you say God couldn't take his legal position on earth where he used to come down and fellowship with men? Because don't forget that spirits are not entitled to work on earth. You, as a spirit, for you to function on this earthly realm, you must have a flesh body. You must have a flesh body to function on this earthly realm. So if you're not a flesh entity, you don't have any legal right. That's why when you lose your body, when you use your earth suit, you are out of this earth. You can only exist as a spirit, and spirits are not licensed to exist on earth. So even God was not licensed to exist on earth. His relationship or his connection was through man. Heaven was never created for man. If you go and think about it, heaven is always going to be a temporary stop for all of us. We will go there. And when the world is ready and God is ready to create a new Jerusalem a new heaven and a new earth, he will then create the new earth and we will live on earth. Well, as men, we were never created for heaven. Heaven was for God and his angels. And so basically, Jesus Christ now came back based on the covenant that Abraham made with God. And that's where you see replicas or likes of sacrifices. So when when Abraham was asked to sacrifice Isaac and he went to Golgotha, the exact same place where the sacrifice of Jesus was, because Abraham had given his son, the Bible talks about, God saw that as completely done. He didn't see it like Abraham stopped. The fact that he did it gave God legal right to come and give his own son. And we know the story of Jesus making an open shame of the enemy and all of that happening so that man had that dominion. And Jesus got all that power back and handed it over to man. So in all of this, why am I telling you guys this? The key thing is you are entitled to dominate your environment, not other people, but your environment. A man will never, you'll find that you will never be comfortable or happy in your environment if you're thinking about money. If the money is dominating you, the situations are dominating you, you will never be happy. And there's only one reason why. Because you were created for dominion. That's what we're created. And Psalm 8 verse 4 to 8, a verse Bible verses that I'm so in love with. It says, who is man that you are mindful of him? For you have created him above all the works. You have given him dominion over all the works of your hands, and crowned him with glory and honor and all of that. But it shows the dominion of man. You have given him dominion. Sorry, that's what I was trying to remember. You have given him dominion over all the works of your hand. So you'll find that if your environment is dominating you, you would always feel like you're not doing well. And that's exactly what it is. So guys, you know the authority that you have as a believer. I suggest that you go and read some deeper messages on the authority of a believer and really know your rights as a believer, because there's a work that has been done for you. So yeah, I will close the vlog off here. Thank you very much for watching. I truly, genuinely appreciate everybody that clicks on and watches this channel. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Bye guys, thanks for watching.